Hi, hello, welcome. Today I'm going to be walking you through an easy Chinese fried rice recipe. It's a really cheap and affordable recipe, especially if you're a college student. This is going to be perfect from that time when you're like low on cash and you're kind of broke. I'm going to give you a little tutorial. So let's get into it. These are the list of ingredients you need for this recipe. The most important one is the day-old white rice. You really need to make sure you're using old rice, like the one you made the day before. Or if you're going to be making it on the day of, make sure it's cold or your rice is going to be all mushy. You don't want that. And here I'm just cutting up the protein of my choice. I'm using sausage, but you can use whatever protein you want. Make sure you cut it into bite-sized pieces. And now I'm just cutting my pepper and then the onions and the tomatoes. And with this, you also want to make sure you cut it into really small pieces so nothing is too bulky and it actually all cooks quite evenly. And here I'm really chopping up the tomatoes because you really want them to be fine. This is everything all chopped up, and here are my frozen veggies all cut up sausage and my beaten eggs. I used 3 eggs for this recipe. This is also my day-old white rice. This is the sesame oil I used and also the soy sauce. Any brand works. Now you want to add a little bit of oil into your pan, and when it's really hot you can add your protein into it, fry it, and you just want to make sure you're moving it around so it doesn't burn until it's golden brown or as done as you want it to be. Once you're satisfied with how it's looking, you can take it off the heat and put it in a different container for now. For the egg, we're gonna cook it in some butter. You want to make sure it's kind of brown before you add your egg into it, and this step is gonna go by really quickly because you don't want the egg to be too cooked. We want it nice and fluffy. Ignore my brother. The next step is frying our veggies. You can reuse the same pan throughout this whole process, just add as much oil as you need. Now I'm adding some garlic, and make sure you keep stirring it so it doesn't burn. After about 20 seconds, now you can add in your tomatoes. We're gonna fry the tomatoes until all the moisture is completely gone. Once that is done, we're gonna add the rest of our veggies and also fry them until they're crispy. Add more oil if you need it. While that is cooking, we're gonna begin seasoning it. The order doesn't really matter as long as you get everything in there. I used some salt, Maggi, black pepper, oregano, and some MSG. The MSG really brings out the flavor and gives it that classic takeout taste. Make sure to give it all a good mix. Once that is done, we can begin adding the rice in. You want to make sure you do this step slowly and add more rice as you go on. Since we want this rice to be fried, you can add more oil if you need it and make sure everything is well mixed in together. Once that is done, we can begin adding in the soy sauce and the sesame oil. The order doesn't really matter and you can add them both in at the same time. And again, just make sure everything is well mixed in. This recipe is kind of an arm workout because you just gotta keep mixing and mixing and mixing until everything is looking good. Once that is done, make sure to give it a taste to see if you need to add anything else. And of course, make sure to mix it all in. Once you're satisfied with the taste, you can add the egg and your protein in. I added some green onions here, but this is a completely optional step. And from here, you just continue to mix and mix and mix until all the ingredients are well incorporated and it's looking good. Here's the final product. Hope yours came out great as well. Bye!
Shimmy, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah. Try.